Hey there y'all, it's PK Beats, and while we wait for the newly announced DLC to come out, we can kick back, enjoy a drink, gaze upon Cowboy Wario, and learn a thing or two about Smash that'll totally blow your mind, like Ryu's hidden Final Smash variant, or dumb facts about wind physics you never asked for. But before we get into that, I just want to briefly announce, again, that I have a TF2 channel officially up, with one video already released, and another one in the works to be released fairly soon. I intend to make content semi-consistently there, though it'll mostly just be compilations of clips with minor, funny editing, maybe the occasional commentary video. So if you're at all interested in Team Fortress 2, or even just a different type of video from me, go check that out. I know you're here for Smash, not TF2, so this will be the last time in the foreseeable future I talk about that channel on this channel, but I just wanted to make sure everyone who was interested in it was aware of its existence. Now, without further ado, Jiffy has given me an interesting fact regarding Ryu's Final Smash. Ryu and Ken are unique in that their Final Smashes have two very different versions depending on where you're using them relative to the opponent. The stronger, cooler one happens when you're close to them, and the large, slightly weaker one happens when you're, well, not close to them. Also, each of these stronger, more cinematic Final Smashes have a very slightly different animation when they actually KO the opponent. So, two very clear-cut Final Smashes, right? Well, what if I told you that Ryu has a hidden third Final Smash variant, one not mentioned anywhere in the tips or anywhere else? There are many ways to get it to happen, but the most consistent way I found was to up-throw Bowser at 0%, wait a tiny bit, use Shoryuken, and just a tad bit after the move connected, cancel it into your Final Smash. And what happens is this really weird and anticlimactic multi-hit version of Shin Shoryuken. Here's what it looks like at full speed. Now yeah, I get it, it's not exactly some completely unique animation, but it's definitely neither of the normal Final Smashes. It's almost like some sort of combination of Shin Shoryuken's general style and Shinku Hadouken's multi-hit aspect. I also later found that you can get this to happen by substituting the Shoryuken with just an up smash, and then cancelling it into the Final Smash immediately. This variant of the setup is a bit easier, so use whichever one you want. Subtracting the damage from the setup moves, the Final Smash alone does about 19% of damage. And as for kill power, we can't exactly test that with this specific setup, but there are a few other setups to get this to happen at higher percent. I found them to be less consistent, or rather just a lot more precise, but after I finally got it to happen, yeah, I barely sent Bowser anywhere, even at 150%. It's practically got no kill power. And its range leaves a lot to be desired. Though it is still able to hit other opponents, but they'd have to be practically jumping into it at that point. So unfortunately, this super secret third variant of his Final Smash isn't exactly useful. In fact, it could probably get you punished pretty hard. If you try this same setup with Ken, you can get something interesting to happen. The start of Shippuden Raikyaku plays out, but stops before the Hurricane Kick portion of the attack. I don't really consider this in the same camp as Ryu's Final Smash variant though, as it's more like just a miss. And if there's a second opponent behind the one Ken misses, they'll get hit with the rest, and the rest of the Final Smash will play out as normal. So unfortunately, Ken doesn't seem to get his own hidden Final Smash, but I thought this little tidbit of information was worth pointing out. Now obviously I don't think this is intended by any means. I'm not sure what specifically would cause it, but my guess is that it happens when the opponent is close enough to you to activate Shin Shoryuken, but during these activation frames they move just out of reach, and so the game just sort of gets confused. Some may argue otherwise, but I think this is definitely a hidden, albeit kinda useless, version of his Final Smash, intended or not. Still on Final Smashes, Xerax Kai gives me an interesting fact regarding Ken's Shinryuken Final Smash. I've gone over on the channel before how Bayonetta's Final Smash will deal more damage if you mash during this, chomping phase, I guess. Yeah, let's call it that. Well, as it turns out, the same is true for Ken's Shinryuken. Normally it does about 34% and KOs off the top at around 65%. But if you mash during it, it does up to 45%, and KOs as early as 40%, way earlier than before. Now, I feel like this fact is even more obscure than the Bayonetta one, as it's not mentioned anywhere in the Smash Wiki, nor in the in-game tips. Hell, they don't even give Ken a unique image for Shinryuken. That moves down bad something fierce. So yeah, by watching this channel, you now know something about Ken's moveset that most people seemingly don't. Pretty crazy, huh? you should subscribe or something, you know, that'd be pretty cool. In fact, by being able to KO a whole 25% earlier, the move actually has some viability. I'd argue it's still the worst of any of the Shoto Final Smash variants, outside of the aforementioned hidden third variant Ryu has, as Ryu's Shin Hadouken is a horizontal based move. And I just feel like you're more likely to be closer to the side blast zone when activating it than you are closer to the top blast zone when activating Shinryuken. And Shin Hadouken can KO at even 0% if done just near the ledge, but that's neither here nor there. And no, mashing will not make Ryu's Shin Hadouken any stronger. For whatever reason, this quirk seems to be reserved for Ken Shinryuken. Actually, post-production PK Beats here, I was doing a bit of research to make sure this mashing fact wasn't basic public knowledge, as if it was known by a ton of people, my little rant before would make me look like an idiot. And on the Smashpedia, I found that in the Street Fighter Alpha series and whatever, with the origin of Shinryuken, you can mash to make it deal more hits. So this feature in Smash would just be obviously a direct reference to that. Now clearly I'm not very knowledgeable of the Street Fighter series, so I did find this really interesting, but I also found it interesting in how intended this seems to be. Despite the fact that nowhere in any official Smash information outlet is this fact mentioned. So I guess it was just a nice little Easter egg that had yet to be unearthed. So that's pretty cool. Let's keep at it with some more Shoto Final Smash facts, like this one from Ginny Dean regarding Shin Shoryuken. That being, if you use Shin Shoryuken near the ledge or offstage, you will actually be forced into freefall, completely unable to recover. I tried it out with the weird hidden third variant of the Final Smash, and yeah, this is also true for this one. This is particularly weird because, to my knowledge, no other Final Smash will force their user into freefall afterwards. And that kinda makes sense, since it's a bit punishing to the character right after their big, fancy attack to just helplessly plummet like that. I would maybe guess that's because the game just uses the same code as Ryu's normal Shoryuken, which, you know, also puts Ryu into freefall, but for good reason. Maybe they just ripped the code from this move and didn't think to change the freefall aspect because of how situational it is to get this variant of his Final Smash off stage. I don't know, it's weird, because if that's how they went about it, they clearly thought about it for Ken's Shinryuken, as this doesn't put him into freefall, so who could say for sure. Speaking of the game's code, did you know that Ken's feet attack are considered to be punch and fist attacks? Well, at least some of them are. Most of Ken's moveset is just fine, where having a spirit that boosts foot attacks actually does boost the power of Ken's, you know, foot attacks. However, there are some moves where this isn't the case. With Ken's fully charged focus attack, he does 34.7%, and his unique special roundhouse kick moves do 34.7% and 26.9%. These are all very clearly kicking attacks, and since I had the foot attack up spirit equipped during these tests, that should mean these will be stronger than the fist attack up spirits. But no, with the fist up spirit, focus attack does 38.2% now, with Nata Atoshigeri doing 38.2% as well. Oddly enough though, the other special roundhouse kick input, Usoto Mawashigeri, does less damage than before at 24.5%. So focus attack is still considered to be a fist attack, despite, you know, literally being a kick, as the fist up spirit is what boosts its power, not the foot up. I imagine this is just because they reused the same coding as Ryu's focus attack, which is obviously a fist attack. But for whatever reason, specifically Nata Otoshigeri is also considered a fist attack. And yet the other unique move, Usoto Mawashigeri, is properly coded as a foot attack? This is a pretty profound fact. There's gotta be some especially fascinating spaghetti going on in the code to get this to happen. Speaking of weird trivia about Ken, Banjo Boy gives me a neat little fact about Ken's sound test. In the sound test section, you can find the voice lines for most characters, and if it exists, they'll also have a voice line for their star KO sound. You can usually find it at the end of the list, with all the other getting hurt sounds. It's distinct in that it's longer, more reverberated, and fades out. Though oddly enough for the DLC, these getting hurt lines can be found not at the end of the list, but somewhere in the middle. So I guess they just eventually decided that that order was preferable. Now, here's what Ken's star KO sounds like. But no matter how much I looked, or I guess listened, I couldn't find, or I guess hear, Ken's star KO soundbite in this voice list. And I doubt I'm just missing it due to how distinct star KOs are, as I mentioned before. Also, Fun fact, but Kirby has the most voice lines out of any single character with 113, obviously due to all the different voice lines from his copy abilities. The runner-up is technically Joker, though about 40 of these voice lines are from other characters during his Final Smash or victory screen.
On to the next battle!
Though it's worth noting that the Miis, both male and female, have the most voice lines total in one single character's section, but they're split up into the types of voices, and a Mii can only have one voice type selected at a time, so I don't really count it. Going back to Final Smashes, BananaBoy has given me an interesting fact regarding the cannons on custom stages. That is, if you go inside of a cannon at the same time a Final Smash activates, you'll actually be stuck inside of the cannon for the duration of the attack. And conversely, you cannot enter a cannon during a Final Smash either. Now, the effects of wind still seem to be present, and the effects of the other obstacles also seem to work just fine, though the visuals that accompany them do get delayed until the Final Smash is over. But yeah, this means that you can effectively use the cannons as a form of escape from a Final Smash, if you time it right. Still on Stage Builder, Deadman Bombat gives me a prompt regarding a test I did a long time ago. In that ancient test, we used an infinite portal setup to see that when Chrom uses his up special and keeps on falling over and over again, his descent will eventually slow to a crawl. Despite going way slower though, the hitbox of his spike still functions the same. The prompt suggests adding wind to the setup to see what happens. Adding wind at default speed, we can eventually see some added resistance from it, with the up special going down even slower. But if I crank up the speed of the wind and wait for the up special to reach its slowest point, he starts going up. Yes, Chrom's up special got so slow that the wind can now beat it out and lift him upwards. He's still completely locked in his up special state, none of my inputs can do anything, and his spike hitbox is still present, but now he's going upwards. So I don't know, I just think that looks pretty goofy, especially the fact that it can still spike despite going, up. I don't know why it took me so long to finally tackle this prompt. I know it's a bit late, but while I'm still talking about wind, Adam Campen gives me a neat little fact about Midman's arms and wind physics. That is, the physics of Midman's arms seem to be affected by the wind. The moves still generally function, but their reach is nowhere near as far as before, nor are they as intuitive. Now the weird thing about this is that it didn't seem to be caused by just wind. If you punch into wind, the arms still work as normal. And the same is true if you punch while inside of the wind like this. No, for some reason this only seemed to happen when Midman is in the wind and being pushed against some kind of ledge or surface. My thought is that perhaps the physics aren't accounting for the fact that Midman is currently not moving, despite the fact that she technically should be. I'm not entirely sure, but it only ever worked for me when Midman was pressed up against a wall or ledge like this. But yeah, if you want to nerf Midman, just counterpick your favorite Winfield custom stage. Lastly for this video is a fact from iRead regarding the Belmont's cross weapon versus the Link's shields. Normally, Link's shield has a perfectly easy time blocking the cross. And I mean, of course it does. The shield can block some of the most powerful projectiles in the game without even a second thought. Even if it doesn't look like it should, it's kinda stupid. But when you try to block the cross when it's returning to the Belmonts, it can't be blocked. Just look at the hero of whatever in his supposedly invincible shield struggle to block even a slow moving cross. It's just pathetic, folks. I tested this with the other boomerang items, like, well, Link's boomerangs, and the same happened here. The shield worked fine when the boomerang was being initially tossed, but it always failed to block the boomerang on its way back. So I don't know, I guess there's just something in the code that prevents it from being blockable on its return. It can still be reflected just fine too, so I guess this is really just for Link's shields. It's kinda weird. Anyhow, that'll be it for today. I'd like to thank my patrons Felipe Morla, Burbo, Raighne, Parade Dino, Dane Play, Feurolant, Skully, Aman Shareef, Keckothedragon, Meep, Skim Milk, Skye, soobledoo, and Stan LOONA. The latest Nintendo Direct seems to be pretty split in how it was received, but I liked it. I did think it was a bit underwhelming, but perhaps I expected more Zelda related news than was reasonable. I think Pyra is a cool DLC character. I enjoy Xenoblade Chronicles 2, not a ton, but I enjoyed it enough, and I actually like Pyra and Mythra as characters. A bit underwhelming overall, but hey, DLC is DLC. I'm gonna take whatever gets thrown at me. The Direct in general felt a bit lopsided in the games that got a lot of time. Like, it felt like primarily JRPGs or EA games being given time, while the expansion pass for Age of Calamity was barely given text on screen for a few seconds. But generally, this mediocrity in the Direct makes me believe that we'll be getting more Directs from now on. I mean, if this direct had all the big reveals ever, then they probably wouldn't have anything else for other directs, you know? Of course, the lack of reveals could also just be due to the pandemic slowing things down, but I'll stay optimistic and hope that another direct is happening soon, or at least some kind of event to look forward to. We're definitely getting a Pyra Mythra showcase sometime either late this month or early next month, so look forward to the channel covering facts about those characters when the time comes. So, stay motivated, stay casual, subscribe to my TF2 channel, and this channel obviously, and I'll see y'all later.